is that you lack a comprehension of what my consistency argument was. Right? My consistency argument for why I brought these other scans was to show generally how this ability is used. But even in interpreting those scans, your interpretations still don't make sense. So, for example, one of the scans that I sent, he talks about making someone's sight become nothing. Right? He's saying making this thing become nothing. That is how he described that usage of the ability. And another usage of the ability is described as eating both the egg and the chicken, right? Eating again, not sounding like manipulation. Eating sounds more like an erasure, a destruction, something like that, right?
Yeah,
In the other
exactly.
scan with the concept of colors, he literally made them never exist. So if all of those other times he uses the ability, the context that as if it never existed means the context that it is used there clearly shows it's not manipulation, it's an entire destruction, making something never have existed in the first place. Then I would say, okay, when he makes that same claim about something like the very concept of time, right, then he would be making it as such it never existed in the first place. And why I'm saying the very concept of time is applicative to the human concept of time, our general, all, like, let's say, encompassing understanding of time, is because when he says the very concept of time, what he would be talking about would be time as like a fundamental aspect of the universe, a fundamental aspect of existence. There is no such thing as existence without time, right? Because you would have to exist at a point in time. Now that's our general understanding of time as a fundamental concept. So if he's talking about the very fundamental concept of time, then he would have to be talking about time as an aspect of existence, right? Because that is the very concept of time. You can search that up if you'd like. So I would say my interpretation still obviously makes more sense than yours, because not only is my overall point clearly more valid, it's clearly more valid because my interpretation of each of the scans makes a whole lot sense more than your interpretation.
Okay.
Wait,
So
saucy, what's
yeah,
going on? I'm my bad.
it's just me
Yeah,
and you
it's
debating.
first debate.
So
Oh,
yeah, very conscious on. Blah, blah, blah. I don't get where you're saying that it's okay. I can agree that to exist, time needs to exist or whatever. That's cool. I don't see how that concludes the human or the way you define the human concept of time. That just because you need time um for existence and that time is like a fundamental thing of the universe or whatever, it doesn't mean that that would extend to uh all dimensions or whatever, especially since in our world we don't even know if all of those dimensions even
Okay, what?
exist or
Wait, wait.
anything.
When you
So
say existence, what do you mean? What do you mean when you say existence? Do you think higher dimensions don't exist, or do they exist? Because
in this
if they
world I don't
exist.
think we know,
Okay, no, but
literally.
when we're talking, okay, obviously, if we're talking about fiction, we would be talking about what is our best scientific understanding about how these dimensions would work. Our best scientific understanding of how these dimensions would work is that we would have, let's say, compactified, tinier dimensions or folded in upon themselves, infinitesimally, whatever, higher dimensions,
but this
right?
nigga
Things
talking
like
like
4D tesseracts or whatnot in our universe, like that sort of bullshit, right? That is our best understanding of dimensions and whatnot. We have no understanding of any dimension that is beyond temporality, no understanding of any
I'm not
dimension that's
saying
beyond
that.
a progression of events. So what I'm saying is, based on our best understanding of dimensional theory and our best understanding of the very concept of time in science, then obviously the very concept of time would be like a necessary denoter for existence. You would not be able to exist in a literal sense without the very concept of time, right?
No,
So
I'm
that would
literally.
include that would include all spatial things and therefore all dimensions, because all dimensions are spatial. That would include all temporal things, because all temporal things are bounded by the very concept of time. And if that disappears and the very concept of space disappears, then obviously that would meet the definition of outer versal. I feel like all of that is
But
1 + 1 + 1 = 4. I feel
all
like that's
right.
the most simple argument ever.
I know, cause I'm not going. I don't think you understand what I'm trying to say. Cause I'm not. I'm not like. I can agree that time, existence and time, they're like they go together or whatever. But I'm just saying I don't think that's enough or good enough reason to extend that logic to every other dimension. Especially if the example he gives is just
Wait,
time. Like it's just
extending what
time manip.
logic?
It's not. The logic as in like you're saying that, oh, now it will manipulate and or it will extend to all dimensions or whatnot. Like I don't think
Okay,
so. I
all right,
think it
but
could just
okay,
literally be
can you just tell me your opinion on that? In your
on the scan
opinion,
of the
does
scan, like what I think it
no,
means.
no, I'm saying in your opinion, this is just the specific point. In your opinion, does the very concept of time include all dimensions? Are all dimensions affected by the very concept of time?
It's vague, but I think like the term itself is vague. But I think in this context, it's just talking about how we view or like how a surface level person would view time, like somebody you would meet in the street.
The
So past,
very
present, and
hold on.
future. That's
A
that's all
surface
I
level
think we.
person
Yeah,
hold on.
I
No, no,
gotta say
no.
that wrong, but
Okay,
how a
you're being
person would see
disingenuous.
time in
You're
like a
being
surface level.
disingenuous. Okay?
How is
You're
I being
being disingenuous.
disingenuous?
You're telling me the very concept of time. Someone says, word for word, the very concept of time. That makes you think of a surface level understanding of what time is? Are you even being serious? Like, come on. If
Yeah,
someone is
I
talking,
think when they're saying,
hold on.
I'm
If
gonna
someone is
explain.
talking about the very concept of time, then what I would assume is that they would be talking about what that literally means. The very concept of time literally means time as a fundamental aspect of the universe, time as a fundamental aspect of existence. Why would someone be talking about a regular layman understanding of time and use the words the very
Yeah,
concept?
I kind of misspoke there, but when I say that, I just meant like what a surface level person would think when they say the very concept of time. So the normal understanding
Was
of time,
Kumagawa a
not the
surface level
concept,
person?
not the very hold on, chill, not the very concept of time, just the normal version of time, supported by the
Okay,
dictionary. It's just
okay.
the progression of events, right? Just
All right,
progression of
I
events.
would agree with
I
you. I
think the
will agree with
very
you.
concept would be
Hold on.
everything,
I would
past,
agree with you,
present, future, all
bro. Because
events.
this
That's
is
the
getting
very
ridiculous at
concept of
this
time.
point. Hold on. This is getting ridiculous at this point. It's just bad interpretation after bad interpretation. I would agree with you if the person making the statement and the perspective it was coming from was a regular human, right? But the statement is coming from someone who has literally erased things from existence before, making them as if they never have existed.
But that's
For
inclusive
what
of
you're
my
saying,
thing.
hold
That's
on.
kind of my point.
For what you're saying to make sense, right? You would have to be thinking in your head that someone who has erased things from all of existence, right? That being past, present, and future. Someone who has done that, when they say the words, the very concept of time, they would be talking about like a regular understanding of it from like a normal person. Are you insane? Like, what are you even saying at
I
this point?
really don't think that's crazy, especially reflecting
What,
on the actions he's doing
bro?
in the name, especially when we see
Bro,
the actions that
be
he's
for
doing
real.
in the name of
Be
the
for
quote
real, bro.
very concept of time. It's literally just manipulating
Bro, be for real.
the timeline. You're just manipulating the
I mean,
timeline.
Okay,
when
all
you
right.
say
Like
the
Let
very
right
okay,
here,
concept,
okay. Hold on,
he's making it where the present
hold
time
on,
is
hold
making
on,
it
hold on.
slower to reach the future. That's it. Or no, just limiting the
No,
future. Like the
okay.
future does
Again,
not extend. It's just a timeline.
all
He's just
of these
manipulating the
claims.
timeline.
I'm gonna say again, all of these claims I've already clearly showed
That's what
why
I'm
they
saying.
make
I'm trying to go
zero
through
sense.
one more thing, and then we
Well,
could kind of end this.
hold on. I need to make this clear. I need to respond to that because that
Okay.
was a completely retarded rant. So all of those claims, firstly, I showed why each and every single one was completely wrong. I went through each and every interpretation and showed why that interpretation makes zero sense, right? Especially considering the fact they all tie in together to show my point. But what matters here now is we're trying to understand what the context of the statement is. What is the context of the statement? And who is it coming from? What perspective? The context of the statement is that a character with an ability defined to erase things from existence, whom has in previous times erased the concept of space, erased the concept of colors, erased the concept of someone's senses, making all of these things as if they never existed in the first place. That means erasing them from the past, present, and future. What we're arguing right now is if that character would have a deeper understanding of the words, the very concept of time, than a random Joe walking down the street. And you're telling me you think it's more likely that the random Joe walking down the street has a similar understanding of the very concept of time than the guy that literally destroys concepts and erases them from past, present, and future. Is that not
yes.
what you're telling me? Do you want
Unironically,
to concede
yes,
now
bro.
and waste me time and not waste me any more time?
I just want to
Well, I
say
ain't gonna lie,
one
I'm a
more
little
thing.
confused. I ain't gonna front.
I just want to say one more thing about the the sight thing and the color shit, is that the same ability? Like, I ain't even trying to be like ratty, but like
The
I
what?
genuinely
The
don't
color?
know
Yeah,
if
it's
that's the
all the same
same
ability.
ability.
It's he literally has
But
one ability. He has one ability.
Is there
wait,
a skin saying that?
Mona, I'm a little. Can I ask a question? Wait, Mona, I thought you
Yo,
were trying to say that like the author himself would have the common understanding of time. So like when the
oh yeah, no,
character
that
says,
was what I was kind of saying, but
"No, I'm confused,"
I
but
really don't think it matters whether or not it's the
oh, and
author
then also when
or the
somebody says the
character.
concept of something, that is just giving a conceptual analysis. Like Saucy would be right. Like you are not. You're
Yeah, it
giving
is
like
a conceptual analysis. My point is that okay, it's a conceptual analysis because the understanding of time is literally just a progression of events, but the conceptual
no, 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 no. What
analysis would
Saucy
be
no
the
the
progression of
point.
events in every single
Wait,
point in
wait, Mo. The
time. So it will
point
be
is like when you're
everything, past,
making
present, and future.
when you're making a conceptual analysis, you're getting past like the very like layman's idea. Like you're getting the actual like nitty gritty of like what is happening. Like you're actually trying to figure out what the concept is. You're not just literally giving like the most basic understanding. But I'm
No,
just confused.
I know, and I might have to clarify
I thought the
because
whole
yeah, I'm
point.
not. I might have to
I'm
clarify. I'm not saying an average Joe in the verses. I mean like an average Joe in like
no,
real life.
that's
If
what I
they
thought you were
think of
saying.
time and how the author would implement it, I'm saying the way the author is implementing it. When Kumigawa is using the ability, he's or says, "Oh, I'm going to manipulate the very concept of time," and then we see the ability being used. It literally just falls under what I'm saying, which is just past, present, and future.
I I'm not sure about that part of it, but I mean,
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you think the average Joe can make this deduction? Okay, everything either exists in the past, present, or future. Therefore,
Yes.
everything that exists upon time.
unless you God, like stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so you think the average Joe can make that deduction?
Yeah, that everything has either existed past, present, or future. Yeah. Or not future,
Okay.
but past and
So
present. Yeah,
Well,
do you
probably.
that's not
think
crazy.
the average Joe could make the deduction that therefore concept is necessary? Sorry, time is necessary for existence because to
All right, that
exist
part
you
might be a
must
little more
exist as a
different.
no. Because I'm saying
So no,
if we're
no.
saying if the first deduction
No,
is
no,
that
Saucy, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm
everything,
saying yeah, they probably would make that conclusion.
I'm saying if everything exists at a point in time, either past, present, or future, if that is a deduction that the average Joe can make, in my opinion, the average Joe can also make the deduction that therefore everything that exists within time.
No,
I,
well,
f- I,
I
f-
guess, well,
I
okay,
think
on a
they
surface
would,
level,
but
yeah, but like, I don't know how you're using necessity there. I don't know. Maybe the
I
term
think
itself is a little bit.
I'm just
I think
saying
they would
because
be
we're
able to
saying
deduce that, but
like
I also think that I think it's also the wording on how you like the way you're wording it. Because I think average Joe would say that yes, every person that has existed and every person that's going to exist in the future will exist in past, present, or future. But most people's perspective of time is that the past isn't real, or like not like the past
what?
existed, but it's no longer. No. My bad. I kind of said it wrong. The past existed, like it's not currently existing, and that the future is hasn't yet existed, but it's going to exist, and then obviously the present right
Okay,
now
but
is
hold on,
existing.
but hold
I'm
on.
saying the very
Wait.
concept of
You know
time would
that's
include
correct though, right?
everything as
Like
if it were to
you do know
exist
that's
all
correct.
equally.
You do know that's correct, right?
Yeah, I know there's
The
like people
past
who
does
argue
not
it and
exist.
debate that and whatever, like that's a scientific little thing. But
No, but
but
that's not
that's
even a
people
debate.
going
That's
in
not
depth.
even a
No, it
debate. You
is.
know
It's
that
presentism
no,
versus the block theory
that
shit.
that is a discussion about semantics. That isn't even really a debate on
No,
substance.
it's
Because
no, that's not.
the issue
Search
is
up
hold
the
on,
block theory,
bro.
bro. Like,
Brother, I know what these things are, okay? If you read any scientific journal about this topic, what the main issue is how we define existence in the first place, right? Because the issue is if we're saying the past is existent in some sense, in that it existed and a state of existence has to be continuous and can never cease, then we would say, okay, the past still exists. Or if you would disagree with that and say that existence should be defined by time, to say that the only things that exist definitively are things currently and things in the past or future do not
Or
exist
yeah, like
because time,
conceptually,
like
yeah.
current time, is what defines existence, then you would say, okay, then all things that exist through time, and there are things in the past that don't
I mean, yeah,
exist
that
anymore.
probably does make it
So
probably does
I
depend
that's
on how
like
you
I'm not
define
gonna
it.
lie.
that's a semantic discussion. That's not even a discussion on substance.
From what I've seen, it's
The very consistent thing is that in both worlds, time is what defines existence. Time and
no,
space are
I
what
I
denote an
agree to that.
existence.
I don't know supposed to be, but I agree with that. I'm just saying, and what one I don't like. Okay, I'm not gonna act like I'm an expert on the block theory shit and all of that, but literally from what I've seen, I've seen people literally argue that the past and the future exist. No, that's literally the whole theory that they exist equally as the present,
Yeah,
not like
you're
some
existing
sort of.
all. They're all
Yeah,
your
the thing,
past,
right?
future, and
That
coexist
that
at the
is
same
an
time.
argument. That was an argument that you would get more in classical dimensional theory, where we
Yeah, I
think
know,
that time. Hold on,
but these
that
are
is the most
experts though.
common. Hold on. Let me say this. That is what you would call the space-time continuum, is the time being the fourth dimension, where you would say time exists as an axis, similar to how you have the axis of length or something, and upon that axis you would have the continuous existence of past, present, and future. That is a very, very, very common understanding, right? That's how it's understood by 99% of the academic
Yeah,
community. But if we
but
want to talk about, okay, what is the our understanding of what time is, right? Then I think you obviously have to be talking about, okay, what can we know about time very, very commonly? What does a very
Yeah, I mean,
common
like,
person know about time? And
I
one of the things that very common people know about time is that time denotes existence. Time and space
That's
denote
fine. I
existence.
can agree to that. I don't really think it defeats my interpretation at all. I was literally
I
just
think
Of
saying
course,
that
it
the B.
interpretation
defeats your
is like,
I'm saying B
interpretation.
theory of time is kind of goes against our intuitions, and so I think if somebody was talking about the very
You
concept
said
of
B
time,
theory?
I think yeah, and
wait,
that's
I think
literally
there's
B.
a
What
little
you said was B
confusion.
Hold on.
Wait,
theory.
wait, wait.
I'm
Mono, I
pretty
don't
Whoa,
think.
sure that's literally B
whoa,
theory.
Wait,
whoa.
let me wait, Saucy.
Firstly,
Let me clear it up. I
firstly,
think
that
there's
was not
confusion.
B
That
theory. I
yes,
just want
it
to make
is.
it
That's
clear.
literally block theory. What are you talking about,
Okay, I'm gonna make it clear. Okay, you
bro? We
clearly
can
do
search it
not
up,
know
man.
what you're talking about right
Bro,
now. Okay,
I swear to
that
God,
is
I do.
not.
It's
Hold on. That is
literally
not
B
B
theory.
theory.
That's literally what
That
B
is
theory
a
said.
theory that literally applies to every standard model of the universe.
A theory
That
doesn't
theory
think of
applies
that,
to
bro.
string theory. It applies to M theory. It applies to superstrings.
But even then,
Anything.
all of those are
Literally
completely against
any
our
theory.
intuitions, which is why I keep saying, in an
What?
intuitive level, I
What are
think
you even talking about,
you think people think,
buddy?
bro.
What are you even?
I swear. Okay, ask your mom. Do you think the past is equally as real as right now, Monica? She's gonna say no.
Listen,
She's gonna think that
I
the past
I
existed, but it
said
no
I
longer
already
exists.
said
B
before,
theory
Mono, I
literally
already
says
said
that it
before why this is a
exists.
non-point. The reason this is a non-point is because either way you look at it, on both sides of the discussion, both sides are agreeing with me and saying that the very concept of time denotes existence
Yeah,
itself.
I was about to say.
So
I think the issue is like Saucy's talking about like prior to like the theories. Like you're just trying to lay out like basic understandings, and then Mono, you're just talking about the theories. Like I don't.
All I'm trying to say, bro, is very
Like
simple.
he's just elaborating on like pre-theoretical stuff you have to sign off on. Like you'd
Let's
have
wrap up the debate first, bro.
yeah. I would say like all that's being said is like Saucy's saying,
Okay,
well,
whatever. It's
before
whatever.
you make a
Just
theory of
prove
time,
real
you
quick that the two
uh,
things like when he was deleting colors and bullshit. In fact, I can agree to
if you
that.
want,
Actually,
if
no,
you
no, no.
want, you
I
can
can
give
agree
a
to that. Literally,
Mono. If you want, you could give a full conclusion now.
yeah. No,
okay.
I was just gonna say I can agree that he's deleting colors or whatever the fuck, and he made this dude's not have sight or something. I don't even know what that means, but no. Worry. And he
Well,
made
clearly
him
you don't.
blind, I guess, right? What you think he when he says your sight became nothing, he just made him blind, right? Yeah, that's what happened.
Wait, are you at? I thought you were concluding.
No, I'm gonna conclude after this. I just need to clarify on what the
Oh, made him
becoming nothing
blind. Yeah,
thing means. Yeah,
I think he literally erased sight and made sight become nothing.
That's a crazy argument.
I don't, I don't even know what that means. Like the concept of sight, because then that would be wrong because he's looking at him. I think he made him blind though, yeah, and I think that would all just follow up with my interpretation.
Right.
So
It would be specifically his sight, but the reason that scan is being used is for consistency on the language, like what he actually means, the language of as if it never existed, right? Because what we're talking about there is in the scan where he's talking about time. right? You're trying to interpret it as a manipulation rather than a destruction or an erasure. And I'm saying, okay, well, every other time he about making something nothing or as if it never existed or all this stuff, clearly he's talking about erasure, and I haven't seen a response to that. So yeah.
Okay, yeah, we could just conclude then. You want me to say
All right,
my
go for it.
conclusions? Yeah,
Yeah.
so I just think all of this ability, or all he proved, was that when Kumigawa is in reference to the very concept of time, I don't think he's actually erasing the very concept of time. I think he's just manipulating the timeline and the things within time. So that would include space to a certain extent, yes. But what we're disagreeing on is whether or not that would extend to different dimensions or all of that. I just don't think so. I think that's only applicable to the specific timeline that they're in. And yeah, that's essentially it.
Okay, so hold on. I don't know if y'all can hear my.
Yeah, you just cut off.
All right, bet. So your turn, right? So, uh, there are two things. So, firstly, his scaling was pretty dog shit. I think I just agreed to like the general scale, but we had a discussion about it prior on a point about whether or not Madoka or whatever her name is, if she can use both her conceptual form and physical form simultaneously. I obviously won that point, and he conceded that. Then my scaling was pretty clear cut. Since he agreed to universal and just existing like eternally or something like that, right? All I did was scale my character outer versal. I define outer versal as transcending the concepts of time or the concepts of time and space. And I gave clear definitions as why both of those would be outer versal and how each would you could then deduce as an outer versal character. And then I showed a scan of a character verbatim saying, if I wanted, I could erase the very concept of time. So if that statement is true, then my character would obviously be outer versal, again, via my definition, which was accepted. So if my character's statement can be credible, then obviously he would be outer versal. The only contentions that I really heard about my scans were two, which was one, attacking like our understanding of like what colloquially the character means by the very concept of time, and secondly, by if the character is actually erasing or just manipulating. Both of those are obviously retarded interpretations. So the first one, when we're talking about what he means by the very concept of time, I said obviously if a character is literally erasing things from past, present, and future, he would have a pretty good idea of what time is and what the very concept of time is. And I said that time is something akin to a denoter for existence. You can't exist unless you exist upon time. So the very concept of time he's talking about would obviously be that very concept that denotes existence, which is pretty basic for someone that erases shit from past, present, and future. I used consistency for the language when we're talking about erasure versus manipulation, where contextually, literally every other time he says something similar, like make something as though it never existed, or erase this thing, or make this thing become nothing, the thing literally becomes nothing. And then we get a literal analogy where it says bringing an end to the what came first, the chicken, the egg argument by saying, sorry, I ate them both. That's obviously not talking about manipulation. If you ate them both, like that's basic, okay? If it's talking about you ate them both, that's obviously an analogy for destruction or erasure of some sort. So there was literally no point this nigga won. There was no interpretation this nigga gave that was good, not even on his own scaling. So shit, bro, do better next time.
Damn, bro. But yeah.
And crossverse ass, by the way.
Anyways.
Hey, Saucy, you trying to debate, bro?
Debate on what?
Crossverse,
Debate
bro.
me.
No, hell no. Please
Yeah,
don't do that.
so let's do Goku versus Naruto. I'll take
Oh
Naruto.
my god, bro, chill out, bro. Let's do it.
Americans,
Bro, can
I'm
I debate
good.
a nigga?
I'm joking. I don't do shitty ass crossverse.
I don't even know if I'm trying to debate
Hey,
on Naruto.
hey, Saucy, not at this very moment, but you want to run inverse Naruto? It can be AR in here at all.
Yeah, I'm
What should I
down.
get, bro?
I don't know what
Mainly
topic that we.
Naruto topics are limited though.
No, I never read, or I read Shippuden, but I don't remember shit happened. So it might have actually. No, I'll just do Shippuden. I just gotta find this game.
Every light's flickering. Can you tell how much that you're bothering me?
That debate was very interesting. Very interesting. I'm back.
No, bro. It
Miles
was
asking
some
me to
booty,
debate
bro.
for a
I don't know what bro
while.
was
I'm not
talking
gonna
about.
lie, bro. That debate took so long to happen. That nigga's been asking to debate me for a while.
So Saucy, when they say delete, do you think they're making an extra metaphysical claim that it literally doesn't exist in any
When
period
they
of
say
time?
what?
I said, so when they say delete, are they making this ordinary claim parts of existence, or are they saying it's deleting in the sense of it's no longer in that particular space?
Yeah, they're saying that it literally never existed in the first place, right? So it's complete and entire metaphysical existence. Like any concept of it never existed in the first place. So what's it called? They define the ability to be that sort of acausal, atemporal, or existence eraser kind of ability.
Well, I mean, obviously at that point, if he says it, it kind of just it depends. Like who gives the understanding of the ability? Because at that point it would be epistemic. I was just like, well, I mean, like,
No,
what if he's just hyping up his?
it was a completely different character that
Oh
literally
shit.
has erased the concepts of time before. So
Oh, okay. I don't know the character, but you get what I'm saying by saying that. Like,
the other character, you know,
obviously,
the character I always use, Ajimu Najimi.
no, I've never seen the big cross.
Bro. Yeah, bro. But anyways, she's the
No, because
goat.
you get what I was about to
And
say,
she's the
right?
one
Like
who defines it.
if he explain if you say he explains it, at that point we get into the epistemic problem because like okay, like who the fuck is this guy?